Hi guys, my apologies. My internet is so low, it's like 0.2 or something. We're supposed to be 15 upload, and it's really impossible to stream, especially we usually have issues even when my internet is like all the way through the freaking roof. So, I'm going to do mini reading. It really is going to be mini because keep in mind that I also have to upload this video. So my apologies to everybody. I mean, they're going to try to come and fix it tomorrow, but it's Mercury retrograde, so let's say I am not holding my breath. We are doing this House 5 Tarot today, and maybe I can rotate this a little bit. I actually just noticed when I was looking into this, it's kind of like made like one of those recipe boxes, and actually there are recipes which I didn't notice before. There is a copyright note here, and divinated eggs over here, icebox fortune cake, and then Madame Marlena's mystical martini. I definitely will have to try it because they're actually really real. Let me see. Fortune cake, butter, brown sugar, frosted flakes, coconut, pecans, Napolitan ice cream, chocolate chips, marshmallows, maraschino cherries. Sounds like a black forest to me. Divinated eggs, eggs mayo, Dijon mustard, curry powder, paprika, salt and pepper. So just if anybody's interested, if you guys want, I can post those online. So as I said, they're going to be short and sweet, literally, and I'm going to start with Aries. I'm going to get one card or two cards, and you have a Page of Swords and then you have a Two of Cups. It sounds to me, guys, that there are like some words that need to be exchanged between the partners, most likely. Be very careful how you do it, because even though you're landing on Two of Cups, and look at this, it's actually zooming in on this instead of this. Let's see if we can change this. Mercury retrograde, guys, is here. So this is Page of Swords has tendency to be a little, let's call it mouthy, right? And we do know, Aries people, right, that mouthy can get you in trouble at times, right? So Page of Swords kind of like talks about this quality, like, you know, take the scissors, I'm going to clip here, I'm going to clip here a little bit, I'm going to clip there a little bit, and then all of a sudden it looks like things are actually kind of damaged, right? So this is somebody who is very inquisitive. That's why it's kind of considered being air, but it's also somebody who is very insubordinate, right? And mischievous, right? So, you know, it's kind of like when you tell a kid, you know what, you have to wash your mouth with a soap, right? Kind of like a thing after this. It almost like describes young me when I was going like, why, like driving my parents nuts, when finally they figure out, you know, why not, kind of like to come back with me and get me in a loop. So this is kind of like a problem child. So literally could mean, hey, you may be having issues with children and something really needs to be done. Maybe a child or children are getting in between the two of you partners. It could mean that, but this is kind of like sweet, right? That this is kind of like talking about the union of two people and talks about a happy balance. This actually also can talk about reconciliation. Maybe some harsh words have been exchanged, and now it's kind of like starting to be something well balanced, either friendship or a relationship. So it is kind of like really important to understand. So just don't let divine get in your head that you don't end up in this and then you keep kind of like circling this whole process. So that was Aries. Let's go now to Taurus. Put them somewhere here. I always put them back upright. So Taurus for the upcoming week. And with the end of this week, we are kicking the Mercury retrograde out. And you have the Chariot and Four of Wands. Taurus. I like how she has, looks like carrot or tarot, and then risk, and then gain, and choice. And here is like this canopy pleasure, like something is being built, but it's almost like, I really like this because even though it's built, like if somebody's jumping on the process even beforehand. It's very important that you have major arcana over here. So this is about travel, it's about decisions, it's about goals, it's about risk. Why is this not centered over here? Trying to figure it out. So, you know, this is really saying literally you have to get off your butt to get things done, right? And you need to kind of like employ all the resources that you have, right? So it's also talking about making important decisions, right? So I don't know, like maybe you want to try, well, you know, tried and true kind of like route, or maybe you're going to go with, okay, let's kind of like take this GPS and kind of like see where this takes me, right? So it's kind of like one of those things, nothing ventured, nothing gained, where I really feel you'll be taking risks. I really feel you're going in the direction of kind of like focusing on some goals, because to me charity is always more than anything about what you want. And since we are in Mercury retrograde, I really think focusing on things from the past is going to be really problem solving kind of like matter. So maybe you're looking back and say, I always did things this way, and somehow I'm not getting like I'm in toward some kind of like resolution. And maybe you're feeling, well, this is how I was trained, this is like what I was doing, but maybe you're going to try something else, because 401 is almost guaranteeing success. It's not guaranteeing something that is permanent. As you can tell, these are scaffolds over here, but nonetheless it's telling you, hey, you know what, you know, at the very least you can relax a little bit, you can enjoy where you are. To me, generally this talks about going to the next level of whatever you want, right? Be very careful over here, because fours are always about structure. So there is like, hey, I need to kind of like rest over here, I need to relax a little bit. It's also kind of like can tell me that maybe some of you have been pulled into the emotional kind of like whirlpool kind of a thing. So this is kind of like really important to understand that even when you are on your journey, that you have to from time to time relax a little bit and smell the roses if you wish. Leo, 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 we have the Star. And we have 8 of Swords. Now, this is totally bizarre. This reminds me of a woman that I've seen in this cake show. I don't even know how I got into this cake show. That was a disaster, because you want to eat everything that you see. So this woman was dressed in this like this big cake, right? So the star is really good. So this is a little bit higher octane of where you are. Your card is strength, and star would be sort of like where most likely you will incarnate in the like next few lives, right? If you are to follow this path, right? This is about limelight, this is about success, it's about admiration. So that's why you are conquering the lessons of, hey, I need to learn how to communicate, I need to learn how to kind of like get through things even when I have opposition, right? So hence Leo is also connected with limelight, because you do it with a great charm. But in this particular modality, there is like this is the element of strategy, and there is the element of really kind of like pulling the strings, right? So this, how I like it, is like all ribbons over here, right? So it's almost like, hey, you know what, my pie won, and I like the cherry on the top over here, a nice touch, right? So taking the prize home, it's kind of like really important, right? But I would not apply, see, this is like the difference between Leo and Aquarius. Leo likes to gloat, you like to enjoy like this basking in the sun kind of a thing, and she does it in this card. But like when I see this 8 of Swords, it's almost like telling me that you might isolate yourself this week if you try to Oh my goodness, it's so bizarre. Like we work and work and work so hard to get where we really want to get. And then, you know, we get to this point and we cannot tell anybody. I understand, because this is about some kind of like self-restriction. So I really think it's going to be something good that is going to happen this week, but you will have to take it in a kind of like really modest way, right? So, you know, I really think there is like, must be even possibility that there is going to be some kind of like embarrassing situation, if for basically no reason. If you really wish you're doing something right and you maybe just want to rub it in, or somebody else perceives that as rubbing it in. So Eight of Swords is indicating that, you know, you're getting this negative feedback. This also indicates that you're being blocked off, or you're kind of, you're basically staying away from things yourself. So kind of like be careful. You're walking on the eggshells this particular week, my Leo. But at the same time, you're going to get a window into kind of like where this expansion is going forward. Virgo. Let's see, Virgos. Virgos. You deserve love and you will get it. I'm just like seeing it on the screen. Oh, look at that. There is a repetition of Eight of Swords. We just had it in Leo. So you have a Knight of Swords, and he looks like James Dean, and all the girls are in love with the bad guy, and he's like with this knife. Is that West Side Story kind of a thing? And then we have this Eight of Swords, the card of constriction of some sort. So there is like this rebel without cause. And also we can talk about somebody who is, you know, egotistical and like, I don't know, cocksure, is that the word even? There is like somebody who is pressing on the gas over here, not really thinking through. Remember how in the start, oh well, remember, if you just rewind back to Leo reading, I basically said this is like kind of like looking into the stars, looking in the future, where here it is like this bad boy that your mom kind of like have warned about. It's like, right, so somebody who's cocky and who kind of like really kind of like wants to be seen, right? So he, and this might be a person you meet, this might be you, that, you know, taking things and getting things at all costs. Like your objective is to get somewhere really, really fast, right? But this person, I really have to tell you, turns out to be a complete freaking jerk, he or she. But it's not this person's intention to be that. It's just like, imagine like a situation. Well, I need to get there. I need to really get to this spot really, really fast. So this person goes, and maybe he kind of like in his motor riding, kind of like he rolls over people's toes. Maybe he breaks somebody's leg. It's kind of he's taking off, right? But if I tell you that he was rushing to get medication for a child that has been dying and kind of like had only that obsession, only that focus, you're going to have the change of your paradigm. And that's exactly what this is happening. There's like somebody who is not intending to be callous, and he's not blind to the feelings of others, but might appear this way to a few bystanders, right? He just doesn't remember to kind of like realize that there are like more elements in all of that. So you might be dealing with someone, maybe you have already dealt with someone who kind of like just stormed in your life and went out of your life, and you're like taking that very personally, where I understand it's a personal situation. But Eight of Swords, it's really saying, look at her, it's really saying, let it go. Don't take it personally. This person didn't do that to hurt you. This person was just, oh look, squirrel, distracted with something else. It was just not meant to be there in the first place. If this is you, you also shouldn't take anything that is happening this week overly seriously. It's just a process, and process will something that will keep going on, and as the Buddhists say, this too shall pass. Libra, whoa, you have Five of Swords, and that's a different rendition of Five of Swords. And then you have Page of Cups. So if nothing else, Five of Swords is really like, I mean, gelling with your element, right? So fives generally always talk about instability, right? And but it's also in a sense understanding how far you can push something, right? You know, like, I mean, you go, well, I think I'm right. I think I'm right. Let's say you're in a business meeting and you raise your hand once, and second and third time, and the fourth time your boss is already like, hello, Vaco, right? So you need to understand these limitations. There's like about realism. This is about kind of like thinking ahead, right? So I'm sure that there is like this level over here that you think you can do it, but look, nobody's perfect. You need to understand and focus on the goals that are within your reach. That's basically all that is saying this week, right? But since you're a little bit of a perfectionist kind of a thing, it almost looks like, well, you know, I need to clip it here, I need to clip it here, I need to do this, but you only have so much time to do that, right? So do not waste time on impossible, and maximize your ability to go into possible. I don't know, is this about some kind of date, guys? It could be, because I see this Page of Cups and look at him. He is like full of watering his relationships, right? And look at this, all these people over here. So it's about growth in this particular things, and it's about nurturing, but this is like also about sensitivity, and it's also somebody who puts a lot of TLC. Maybe you are just trying to be so perfect for some kind of date, and or maybe you are getting into this lovey dovey kind of like stage in a relationship. So, you know, you have to understand over here, like, because it's showing, right, that he is watering certain things, but seeds are placed in the soil, and it takes really time to basically them to blossom. So it's really reminding us that we always have to and continuously tend to our relationships. Sometimes we're not going to get very far ahead. Somebody is, oh my gosh, you know, still being childish even though they're like 40 years old. And this is just the way it is, because sometimes we get so focused how things should be that we forget and lose sight of what we already have and how important this is. So if you're feeling that somebody's getting in your way and that you're better than maybe another partner, you need to really think again. Is this like, I mean, your fear of rejection, or are you really willing to miss out on someone who actually does have a really good heart, and where maybe a relationship could develop and bloom over time? So Scorpio, let's see, my dear Scorpios, what is in for you? Like, you have Five of Wands reversed. I'm going to leave it this way so you can see it. And you have the Star. Now, Five of Wands, it's really interesting card, right? Because in a traditional deck, it shows different people kind of like playing a game which can at any given point get out of hand, right? Because they're pushing each other with wands, right? Technically, it's really talking about some kind of competition, but I always see it as some kind of like boundaries over here. It's interestingly enough that she has all of these dust kind of like things for different items here. So this is a card of conflict, upright or reversed. Sometimes you're aggressive, and other times you are passive aggressive. So here we are kind of like seeing this housewife is somehow besieged with this like household appliances over here, right? So it gets overwhelming sometimes, like things really are coming and needed to be really absorbed, right? So in a really your scorpionic way, you really need to pull in and reach deep inside to really discover what is that makes you shine, what is that this is this cherry on the top, what makes you into this star, right? So I really think, because this is really connecting to you, and it's really 17 and 5 is 22, you guys getting this like master number message over here. There is like something that needs to be built, and you're not dreaming a small dream. You have a dream, but your dream is to build some huge structure, something that is big and lasting, something that is going to have your name on it. So star means reach for the star, and maybe you're going to have small bickerings this particular week, but do not allow that to kind of stand in the way of the bigger goals that are down the line. So that's what the star is. Sagittarians. Where's my coffee? Hopefully you guys are having a coffee. Sagittarians. We have the Hangman. And we have Queen of Cups. Wow. You guys might be dealing with somebody and you don't know what to do in this situation. Look at this, completely upside down. And hopefully you're having your own coffee. Let me have a sip. I'm really sad that I cannot be with you, and I hope that my internet will repair soon. So to me, this is a card of feeling stuck. But this card, just like usually yin and yang symbol, in every white part we see the black dot, and in every black part we see a white dot. So everything, every one of us, even when we are completely good, we should have something bad. We do have something bad. It must exist. This is basically how we came to this planet. So this is that position where we are able to comprehend that. We are able to have this epiphany, right? Like we even created like huge structures like religion to try to kind of like shed this like last part of quote unquote evil, right? But that part actually, that part serves like an anchor. This part serves like reminder of this is what's going on. This also could be about hardship of some sort. Like, I mean, there is something that you need to see the way it is, right? Whether it is your backstabbing, or you have a backstabbing person in your life. Tiger, it was enough, please. Must be a doggo or a cat or a squirrel outside. I don't know, like, I mean, I would say that there's like something that is not working, or there's like something that has a flavor of womanizing over here. Kind of like there is a level where there is like somebody saying enough is enough, and you need to keep in mind that time and sacrifices are really, really necessary to make yourself emotionally happy. And that's why the Queen of Cups is there. And there's like evolution of where you can be with humbleness and with some kind of sacrifice. There's like clearly a need to pull back in, and there's clearly a need for reckoning. Sorry, I need to see what's going on. He's never like this. What's going on, mister? This is not good. Your little music track right here. Is this better? I opened the window for little buddy. So this is what it is. Some sacrifices are needed. Like, I mean, I'm supposed to get up and do something for somebody else. See things from a different person's or doggy's perspective. Queen of Cups is basically talking about emotional merge, right? Queen of Cups is basically a man or a woman you want to get. It's somebody who is, it's interesting that she's shown with a drink over here and putting this like cube of ice in there. It is like generally a card about somebody who is intoxicated with emotion. So it's just like overload. And of course, I know I'm an air sign and I'm going to always see it this way. And I'm not so sure how you are fitting into that. Maybe you're needing this kind of like almost like motherly kind of like need. Maybe this represents a woman in your life or a feminine aspect of your personality. This is kind of like vibration over there. There's like some need over here, which is like really linking to your level. The glass is always half full, right? So there is like something about this person that you're left with, hey, I really want to be like that. There's like something sentimental, but there are also like there's a connection with this person that there are like some neglect about household responsibility, because this queen is not, let's say, Queen of Pentacles. She's not kind of like making sure everything is taken care of, everything is organized. She is fully focused on emotional aspect, which could mean that, hey, while she's drinking, the house is getting all messy, etc. So how is this connecting with you? It means that maybe you're looking and striving for an ideal that is really not doable. Maybe you feel this like nice warm blanket comfort. um, you kind of like want that, you want to attract that, but you need to understand that this also comes with some other elements which I don't think to your personality, where it's always kind of like trying to figure out some mysteries of the universe, etc., would be really appealing. But it is appealing in this moment. Capricorn, we have 8 of Wands and the Empress. Recipes for success. Oh my goodness, I just can't even believe how women used to live being dressed like that to the nines all the time. How uncomfortable this must have been, and being constrained to societal rules. It is very strange because Capricorn and Aquarius are both ruled with Saturn, and like we are like nothing, we have nothing in common. It's just like totally bizarre. So 8 of Wands is about swiftness. That's why we have a whole bunch of Swifter over here. It can be also travel, it can be flight, but it can be about the progress and process and growth, right? So it's kind of like, I like how she's like riding her broomstick over here, right? So it represents this busy time, and maybe, you need to take charge of some kind of situation, and then, others kind of like will follow through, because it almost looks like you are stepping in, you're becoming this empress. If you're a woman, you're like almost like going to exemplify perfection this week, where pretty much everybody will look up to you, how to do things and how to bend around things and how to push things forward, right? So the Empress is about motherhood, it's about poise, it's about nurturing, right? So it's a feminine force to be reckoned with. If you're a guy, this is more about, hey, this is kind of like a wife, this is kind of like a woman I really aspire to have, kind of a thing, right? So it is that feminine, but it does have touch of authority, right? You would not want to cross an empress, right? So keep in mind that this is about testing things out, and there's like somebody who tried so many different things to find this tried and true, that find this recipe that is the secret of her success. So maybe you're going to meet a person like that, who is going to become your mentor, who is going to be able to guide you. And I really think this is also a card of a great indication of a domestic bliss. So this also might be arrows of love, somebody saying I love you. In this combination, it might also include something formal and something official. So it could indicate proposing. So let's see what happens. Aquarians, Queen of Pentacles, and Two of Swords. Oh my gosh, look at how overpowering this Queen of Pentacles is. It's almost like I mean, slap in my face. She's like all dressed up to the nines, and like she has her whole family over here that is kind of like nicely pulled together. And I guess she definitely needs to be in charge over here. So this card is about materialistic tendencies, but it's also about high expectations. So setting really high goals and clearly not knowing how to follow through with this. So Queen of Pentacles, and I identify with this quite a bit because she's also very pragmatic and very practical, right? So hey, like this makes more sense, let's kind of like make this a shortcut. So but there is like somebody who appreciates finer things in life, and who kind of like really likes everything that is tasteful and elegant, right? But she also kind of like is willing to kind of like treat herself when it comes to that. And there is like generosity towards family and friends, but there is the problem, because this person sometimes thinks relationships are monetary investments, right? And if she cannot really get return on her investment, that's it. Give me my chips. I'm taking them home, kind of like, right? So, having said that, this could be something that is happening at work. So, she can symbolize a helpful friend, or even an employer who maybe expects too much. Well, I hired you and you want to do this. Hey, Mr. Employer, this is basically what you're asking me is like a 3-person's job. I cannot do that. I mean, I had an employer like that. This guy was working me through the roof. Like, I was like at work from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6:30, 7 every day. And then he would walk into my office at 6:30 and he would say, well, I need this research by tomorrow morning. So next thing you know, like, I was working around the clock. So whether or not he wanted me to quit with this kind of like force, this was going on for a few months. And I said to myself, this is not worth it to me. Just not worth it. Off you go. So karma came through, because he had to close quite a few locations within 6 months of all the stuff, because he didn't know how to implement stuff. But I still wish him well. Two of Swords is like that huge indecision. You maybe are getting benefits of some sort. Maybe you know, there is like a job on the horizon somebody's offering, but you're not sure that, let's say, you would get along with that boss. You're not sure if you would get along with coworkers, or that you really want to spend so much time out of your home, because this can talk about opposing views and can talk about conflicts as well. So to me, clearly is telling me and warning, especially about my US friends, about Thanksgiving dinner, right? Especially if you have them with in-laws, that it could be full of conflicts. So be careful about that. So she's blindfolded, and she is basically telling us, stay impartial, kind of like, do not open our big mouth this particular week, right? So it's also like with Thanksgiving dinner, which it has this opposing taste, cranberry sauce and green bean casserole, right? So even when they're opposing, they're actually pulled back together nicely. So keep in mind that not everybody is going to see things that we do, and that even if they don't, maybe we just have to accept it, and just, that's all that needs to be done. Check it to lesson, check it to this is the way it is. But this kind of like, it's telling me that it could be something that maybe you're feeling overpowering, maybe you feel you're being overpowered or minimized, but this is really telling you, go through it, keep your mouth shut, and everything will be fine. So sorry to be overly pragmatic in summarizing this. You can tell that I can be Queen of Pentacles at times. Another sip of coffee. Pisces. Whoa. The Devil. Isn't this a super cool card for the Devil? There's some kind of vices over here. It's interesting that it's called spork, not spam. Cheese whiz. Instant coffee. Cigarettes. Oh my god, goodness, I've forgotten about that. Like, I mean, how in these old movies you will have this housewife with a cigarette in her hand, and they were telling them this is actually even good for you, right? So little did we know. So it is clearly a card of temptation, my dear Pisces, and this is clearly your card, right? But it's about vice, it's about self-destruction, right? So it really links well together, telling you that you may fully only exist within your own element this particular week, right? Queen of Cups is like, it's emotion. I only want emotion. I don't care about the chores. I don't care that I have deadlines. I don't care that I have to show up at work. All I need is like simply feed myself. Cigarettes, cakes, martinis, right? Devil's food cake, sort of like whatever it is, right? So it's almost like the devil inside of us kind of like likes this kind of like very simple solutions, right? And hence we buy something that is costing us so much, and then It's all going to be good until we get visa basically bill next month. So be very careful about succumbing to your dark side, because it might be something that is going to cost you later. But this week you're going to really indulge. That's how it seems like it's going to be. And that is it. That is my reading for today. My apologies. It is just impossible to stream on this particular thing. And I really wish everybody well. And until the next time, guys, you know that I love you. And I'll talk to you next Saturday. I don't wish to exit.